Didn't get into Comic-Con. Ah! There's your open right there. Hey, how's your day today? How you feeling? Ah! Welcome friends, Scarf here, and it's time for the vlog. So theater is about like directing and some acting. Stuff with Act 1, Scene 1 of Romeo and Juliet, which is when it's the two guys, Samson and Gregory, and then Abraham and Balthazar. When those guys meet, it's that, and it's me directing that, which was an interesting experience. So that's what that's gonna be. It's not a long thing though. There is a thing at the end though, where I got some tips on voice, for breathing and stuff for voice acting from the teacher, and like hype, and so that's cool to check out there. So there's gonna be, since that's so short, there's gonna be a bit of a topic. But first thing, let's talk about Tad. So guys, Tad works. Oh my god, Tad works. Look, last week we had 17 different people, and they didn't all do 500. That's fine, as long as everyone's helping out a little bit. On average, we got about 2,000 Tads per person out of 17 people. That's pretty damn cool. So we made $32 last week. We need still 25 unique people across the month to get the money, but still, we're 17, so we only need 8 more people for this. We got $32 last week, so Tad works. We're getting really close to getting money for the channel. We can do upgrades and everything. Good news, we have a wish list, and we put it up on Amazon, so you guys can check that out. And you can see what the upgrades we're looking for are. So you can see what they are. If you think the upgrades we're looking for are not actually that good, and you think there's better upgrades we could have, let us know so we can adjust the wish list. We put up the wish list earlier, and someone already bought the monitor for 1080p upgrade. So we got the 1080p upgrade monitor coming to us now, so that's awesome. We have upgrades coming, so that's great. And then Tad's gonna allow us to do more upgrades, and I'm hyped for this. I'm very hyped for this, because the more upgraded we are, the better we can look for the people who care about looks, and also because what's coming up is going to be games that are going to be heavier to deal with. Nier's going to be here. By the way, there's going to be an LP for Nier. It comes out Friday. We're going to try to get a video out Monday or Tuesday, the following, after the weekend, for Nier. We're going to try to do that. That'll be there. There's going to be another LP on top of them. But Shadow of War looks amazing. Shadow Mordor sequel, Shadow of War looks great. I'm worried it'll tank the computer, so hopefully we're able to get upgrades before that game comes out. We have a couple months, and that'd be awesome. That'd be freaking awesome. And who knows what other games that would be looking really freaking pretty, that we'd love to look pretty in 1080p, right? So, we have a chance. You and me have a chance to make this work out. I'm hyped. I am so damn hyped. Like, I've got the hype of the fact that I got some voice acting tips. I got the hype of the Tad. I am extremely hyped right now, and I am, oh my god, guys, gals, we're in a good position right now to just grow. Yeah. If you don't know about Tad, just check out the description, all that stuff, and I'll probably do an update video on Tad. I might do an update every 2 weeks so everyone knows how Tad's going, because Tad updates are on Monday, and so I'll probably do a video later in the week as well for that. But we have a chance. I'm hype. I'm so goddamn hype, guys. On top of that, of course, we're going to do the monthly giveaways based on Tad. So 1/10 of the money on Tad goes right back to you guys as far as a giveaway at the end of the month. And so I'm hyped for that as well. What game it'll be and everything. Because as Tad gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, well, hoping for bigger and bigger, and doesn't go down, it goes bigger, we can do bigger giveaways. And that's the thing. I love doing giveaways for y'all. I'm thinking of doing, like, in June or July, just another Christmas. Like Christmas in July, Christmas in June, where every video has a giveaway attached to it. I'm thinking of doing that as well. Because I love giving you guys games. You know me, I love games. I love the games, man. Love them. Now that's enough about Tad and the wish list. Let's see what else they're talking about. Comic-Con. Didn't get in. There's still open registration in April, so hope I get in there. Like, if you've never been to a con, you're like, who cares? I've never been to a con. It's like, I know, but cons are awesome. Cons are fun to be at. Even if you don't like crowds, I'm a bit of a loner, but cons are cool. I went to TwitchCon. TwitchCon, the con was great for the people there. Like, I love seeing all these different developers, talking to developers. I talked to developers of Vermintide. Those guys are awesome. I talked to that Pierre guy, saw Yizbrit. I saw all these different developers. I talked to them, talking about game development, talking about their games. I just love developers. I love talking about their just how they make things. I love that part of things. I want us to be so big that we could interview. Like, we could do interviews. That'd be awesome. Wouldn't that be? That'd be awesome. I'd love to do that. I'd love to go to PAX and all the other ones and just talk to game developers. That is a dream. I got choked up from talking too much. That's a dream. That is a 10 years from now dream, is being able to talk to developers and interview them, besides just talking to them casually, but actually like showing them to the channel. I would love that. I love indie developers. I love AAA developers. There's some developers who are just up their own A. There are some developers that are up their own A. But there are some who are very humble and all across in between. And there's a whole bunch of different types. And I love it. I love developers. I like talking to them. I like the ideas they got going on in their head. And it's awesome. I just enjoy that. So I'd love to go to PAX and just talk to developers. I love going to Comic-Con. There are some developers there. I love talking to them. And then I like going to, like, TwitchCon was cool to go to for that. Twitch itself wasn't great, but the streamers were awesome. The developers were awesome. The people were awesome there. They were very fun to talk to, and that's why I'd love to be able to go to other places. So I like cons. I like going there and doing that. Also, just seeing people dress up, seeing people enjoy their fandom and everything. It's very fun environments going to cons. So I'd love to be able to do cons. Like, I'd love if we got big enough that I could fly to a bunch of cons and just do all that. We're talking dreams here, and that'd be fun to do eventually someday. See, what else is there to talk about? Let's see here. Talk about Nier. Okay. The other LP is going to be Night in the Woods. This is more voice work practice coming up here. Night in the Woods. And so Night in the Woods is an interesting story. I see it like as a Stephen King novel. That's the way I keep saying it, because Stephen King novels are kind of these slow burns. There's something going on. But there's also a lot of slice of life going on in there. It depends on which Stephen King novel. There's a lot of slice of life going on, and you feel like there's something else. You feel like it's building to something. And Stephen King novels, one big moment happens, and then there's stuff after it. At least that's some of his books. Other books are just constant stuff is happening. Stephen King is very prolific. He writes a lot of books, of course, and he's written about a lot of different things, and he has a lot of different styles. But this is the one I'm talking about, where it's the slow burn, big event, and then slow down type of style. And I feel like Night in the Woods is that. I haven't finished it yet. We're a couple hours into it, and it is a heck of a game. This is a game made for millennials, is the way it's put, and I understand, because you guys are going to learn a little too much about me from just how things are similar to me, to the characters in that game. And just, it's a game that explores life in a way, and it's very good. Very good. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And I'm going to voice everything, so in case you already know what Night in the Woods is, May's just going to be my voice, because I'm not doing a girl voice for the main character. But there's voices across the board in there. Reinhardt voices in there. There's a couple voices. And so that should be fun. Let's see what else is there. Logan. So Logan, I saw Logan. Great movie. Gonna have a review and spoiler talk coming up in the future. Just got to finish editing that, and that'll be up there on YouTube to check out, so you can see what I think of it. And I liked it. Now, spoiler talk. What I like about spoiler talks is it's a chance for conversation. It's a chance for you all to say, yeah, that was cool, or you didn't think that was cool, or whatever. I personally think it was a great movie. I really liked it, but there were flaws to it. So I am curious about conversation on that one. So the video for that will come out in the future, so we can talk if you want to talk. And, the end of Overwatch. Learning to say goodbye. So I can't help but feel like I'm letting people down whenever I stop a long-running series. Smite! It was depressing. Stopping doing Smite was very depressing, because I just didn't enjoy Smite for the last couple months. We were almost at 1,000 videos, trying to get there, but I was like, for the last couple months, I just didn't like it whatsoever. I was not having any fun with it. I just couldn't stomach the game anymore. That's how bad it was. But I kept trying because, well, this is the popular thing. We're getting big because of it. But I couldn't stomach it anymore, and we left. And I felt like I was disappointing people for like months, and it ate at me for a long time. I didn't feel good. Of course it didn't feel good. Overwatch, I feel the same. Not as badly, because it's happened before with Smite. But I do feel like I'm letting people down. But it's not as fun as it used to be for me anymore with Overwatch. Overwatch is a great game. It's a very well-crafted game. And I kind of thank God I quit right before the Bastion update. Oh my god, the Bastion update. That was a nightmare. But we're out of Overwatch. We'll come back for Arisa when she releases. And in the future, we'll probably look at them in the PTR. But that's really that. It's a good game. I just can't do it regularly anymore, because what happens is when you're at your greatest ignorance, you really enjoy a game unless it's terrible. A good game at ignorance is very good. The more knowledgeable you become, the lower your tolerance can become. And I got to the point where I knew way too much about the game, where my tolerance of bad play from teammates was not very good. And it just, no. It didn't go well for me. I explained my thought process in that video of learning to say goodbye in Overwatch. So there's that. And that is everything but the topic. So the topic is don't let the pressures of others get to you. And I do wonder about it later on. And this is probably the thing about with me is because I did let the pressures get to me when it came to Smite, where I stuck around because people really liked it, but I wasn't liking it anymore, but it was eating at me on the inside. And I don't think I've ever made anything where people just hated it and they hate me for it. That's something that we have not done, and I'm thankful for it. But I see so many content creators of different types, artists, YouTubers, different streamers, just different people doing something different and getting hate from their base. And that bugs the crap out of me. It's never happened to us, fortunately, but I see it. And I think it's because we try to nurture a base that is understanding and cool with each other, even with differences. But I see it, and I just like, holy crap. Like, okay, one example is artists on Tumblr, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, Pinterest? Not Pinterest. Picarto, like all these different artists. I follow a lot of artists because I like artists. Artists are cool. They make amazing things that I can never make. And I like following them. But what I hate is whenever they draw something that they really like, and then there's, of course, these people who just hate it. Because maybe they hate the subject about it, or they hate the look of it, or whatever, and they give the artist crap, and the artist sometimes breaks down and will never do that again. And that is the worst thing a person could ever perpetrate on another person, is to hate their stuff to the point that they don't want to do it anymore. And the worst perpetrator is probably Tumblr when it comes to Steven Universe. Dear God, that is not even a topic worth going over. That is unfortunate. That is extremely unfortunate. I hate it when this goes to a different topic, but it's just people who hate something, who hate people in a thing, and they make it this thing bigger than what it is kind of way to themselves. And then if the artists or whatever deviate from that, they give them so much harassment and crap that artist doesn't want to do anything with it anymore. I've seen that too many times, and it's frustrating. And it keeps happening. And that's not good. And that's one version. The other one is Angry Joe is one of my favorite people ever. I love his content. I'm a big fan of his. He's a very fun guy. He likes to rage and stuff. Like, I've talked about Angry Joe all the time. Like, I don't rage like he does. He rages in an entertaining way. I don't. That's how I feel. And somehow he's not actually an influence on the channel. My influence has always been TB and Jesse Cox. But Angry Joe, I've been a fan of him for a long time, but I noticed that none of his stuff really reflects on our stuff. Which is weird, because usually things you're a fan of influence you, but I see his stuff and I don't see influence from him. But I'm a big fan of Angry Joe. I effing hate his community. I hate his community so much. They're so angry and hateful in the comments. Anything that isn't a review, they give him so much crap for. And he's just making content, and it's so enjoyable, and people are just so hateful towards him when he doesn't make reviews, and it just pisses me off so much. To the point that Angry Joe even had to make a video going like, okay guys, can you allow us to make these things and have the schedule of these things so you stop hating on us so much? And I would never want to get into that situation. I don't want to get in this situation, and that depressed me. Angry Joe is so awesome, and to see that is just so frustrating. And just in general, probably because he's Angry Joe, he has such an angry base, I guess, that they love to hate on things. And that bugs me a little bit as well. We're like, yeah, some things have their flaws and everything, but to outright hate something, even people who just don't know what a thing is, they just hate it to hate it, it's like, not so great. Because there's people who are looking for Angry Joe to do a Zelda review because they want him to crap on the game. Because they're looking at him to be the one that does it for them, because there's people who just hate the game because they hate the game. They don't have a real excuse for it, they just hate it. And that feels like a childish thing. Like, I know I was there when I was a teenager. I know I dislike things because other people disliked it too. I'm at the point where it's like, eat the goddamn pudding to find out if you don't like it. Like, I can't hate something just to hate it anymore. Is it because I got older? Or because I got tired of seeing that? Is the question. Where, that's really what it is. And that's in any subject. I've got a cousin who blindly hates everything he calls liberal because he's so much of a Republican. Like, dude! He's like, she's hot, but she's probably a liberal. Like, dude, why is that? Why? Why is that the most important thing? Why is that such a thing? Same thing goes for sports teams. Like, we love this team, we hate that team, F that team, F their fans, F all that stuff. Come on, man. We're all just enjoying a sport. You can love your team, you can hate some practices from other teams, but I don't understand hatred. Real, pure hatred comes out of the most weirdest subjects. I don't really get it. Or just the weirdest, just dumb things. You also have, of course, the console wars. The same thing as like the years and years of people hating Nintendo and Nintendo fanboys, because Nintendo fanboys can be terrible. But it's not like they're the only ones. Xbox fanboys, PlayStation fanboys, fanboys of anything. There's always bullcrap within this. DC versus Marvel. Everyone forgets about Image and Dark Horse. DC versus Marvel. If you like one thing a little too much, you'll be accused of being a fanboy for that, even if maybe you actually absolutely love the other one over across your life. It's really weird. Like, I love DC and Marvel. I love them both. But my comics back in the day was like Spawn. I read the crap out of Spawn. That's Image. That's neither of them. I loved Hellboy. That's Dark Horse. I'm of course reading occasionally Batman. I'm reading occasionally, not really Superman. Who's all about Batman? Batman. What other comics was I reading there? And I wasn't really reading X-Men. Anything Wolverine I liked, because I like Wolverine. That's why I love Logan so much. But I had my things that I liked. Then eventually Deadpool comes around. Actually, Deadpool's been around, yeah. So Deadpool comes around when I'm like teen or something. I've read every Deadpool. Deadpool's my jam when it comes to Marvel. When it comes to Marvel, Deadpool's my jam. I'll read all the other Marvel stuff that has Deadpool in it, and maybe I'll read them as well. When it comes to DC, Batman, and then a whole lot of things with Batman. So I've got like two main guys. Got Deadpool on Marvel, and I got Batman on DC. And if I talk a little bit about Batman for some reason, I would be considered a DC fanboy, and I hate Marvel. If I talked a little bit too much about Deadpool, I'd be considered a Marvel fanboy, and I hate DC. And that's weird. That's weird, because I like following comic book people, and I'll see in the comments, they're like, oh, they're just this, or they're just that, they just hate this guy. They just, like, no, they love comics. That's why they're doing comic YouTube. I love comics, so I talk about comics. I love comics. Rebirth is amazing. Civil War was a huge misstep. Civil War 2. Civil War 1 was interesting. House of M was interesting. Now I'll tell you about Jinx. Jinx is a big fan of X-Men, big fan of mutants. House of M made her hate Marvel and stop reading. She stopped reading after House of M. And anytime I told her about Civil War, or I told her about World War Hulk, or I told her about any of the Marvel stuff, she just wasn't happy. Because they effed the mutants pretty bad. Like, if you're a fan of the mutants, how good is Marvel for you right now, right? This is a different conversation. But it's back to what the point of hating something because you hate it for no good reason is part of the subject, but it's the original point is letting pressure of other people get you down. This is towards me, toward content creators, but also on the other side of things is you shouldn't be really putting pressure on artists or content creators and those things to make a thing you want, especially if they don't like it or if they don't want to do it. And the worst example is Angry Joe. That's the worst example I've seen. For me, I don't think it's very bad. There's people who still wants to play Smite and yeah, 2 hour not. That's it. Like, no one's been really vicious about it. That's fine. There are people who are vicious towards artists about what they make and that they want them to make this or they want them to make that. It's like, geez, pay them for it or something. I don't know. And I think the main thing of the topic is don't let the pressure of others get you down when you're a creator. And if you are a fan of a creator, you can suggest things. You can say you like this. You'd say you wish they made this or that. But if you just outright get angry at them because they're not making something you like, I don't know if you're really a fan. If I got angry at an artist for whatever reason because they made something they liked, I don't think I'm a fan if I did that. I really don't. You can argue the same thing for a bridge, where a bridge takes a long ass time. They get a lot of crap for that. A Dragon Ball Z abridge. But yeah, that's enough talking for me from all these things. Enjoy the theater talk. It's not a very long talk, but it's pretty fun. Especially oh my god, the voice acting stuff. I'm so hyped for that. I'm trying to do that stuff now. I wasn't doing it right now because I'm just talking, but it's a lot of probably the most important lesson is just learning how to talk learning how to breathe without making noise, which I'm not doing right now. There's plenty of breaths in this one, but the concept of you can open up your holes. You can open your holes and the breath will just come in through the vacuum. You don't need to force it with breathing. It'll come in there. So it's the concept of talking and then just opening up and it goes in there on its own and then you just do your thing. And it's about training yourself to do that. And that's huge. It was like, just breathe out and open up, and it'll all go in on its own. And that's amazing. That's kind of amazing. And that's just a practice of, also works on your diaphragm by doing that. And then she gave me some tips on just working out the diaphragm. So I'm all happy about that. But you'll hear that later. So there you go. That right there is this part of the vlog. Thank you for listening and everything. And you know I appreciate you very much for coming by, listening to me talk about different things. And let me know what you think. Welcome, friend, to day 11 of theater, and this was pretty interesting. It was a lot of acting and directing based, and I took every chance to be director on this. So we went over the directors on directing article, and that was really good. If you want to read that one, it's really good. I thought it was a very good article. It's just people who've been in the field for like years or decades talking about directing. It's really good. As a content creator, directing is important because they're the ones who see the whole picture. Content creators, of course, have to see the whole damn picture. Like that's it. So just reading that was very helpful to me, very inspiring. And I'd say my thoughts on things, and people agreed or they liked them. Like, yay, validation. That's always a good feeling. Yeah. But she also went over this article on tips for just stage placement. It's like it seems very obvious when you actually read it. It's like the character comes in from the left, and your other character should be on the right so that they're not in the way. Because if he comes in from left and they're in the left, they're going to be in the freaking way, right? So you can't see the character. That wouldn't be very good. Just obvious stuff like that. Same thing with furniture, just how furniture should be placed. And then she did some directing stuff, which was great. So Audrey and Steven. She needed actors for this thing, and we got Audrey and Steven. Steven's a guy who likes to help out, likes to participate a lot. Audrey is the super actor girl. She knows how to do things, and she likes playing dramatic stuff. So what it is Steven's just going to sit on a chair. There's a chair next to him, empty chair. Audrey's going to come in and tell him, I have something to tell you. Audrey is really good at acting, very impressive at being dramatic. She comes in slowly. She doesn't look very happy. Comes in still slowly, sits next to Steven, puts her hand on his arm, and says, I have something to tell you, while looking straight into his eyes. You're like, oh, something bad is about to happen. There's about to be some bad news. And the idea here is, all she told them was, these are the characters coming in from here. He's sitting there. You come in and tell him these words. You come in and say this line. That's it. And Audrey did all this stuff with it. Apparently, the idea behind directing is you give some instruction. Don't tell them what to feel, what to be. None of that. Just give them some instruction and see what the actors do with it. And then build it organically from there. She was given instructions like, okay, try it again, but a little bit slower. Try it again, but think of this in your mind. Try it again, but be a little more like this. Just not saying the exact thing to be, but something close to that, and then see what happens. And it comes up to this final version of it, and that is, she just got the results from the doc. Steven, they're at the doctor. Steven's results are in. She's going to go tell Steven the results. So Steven's pacing. He's walking back and forth. And she comes in. So Steven sits down because he's like, okay. And she moves slowly. And then she just stops. And she looks at him. And the instruction was just look at Steven and think of your relationship with him. And so it's, of course, the thoughts of, well, I'm about to tell the man I love that he's going to die. That's what's happening in her, on her face. And she did it very well. She sits down, sits forward, has her hair over her face. She puts her hands in her face. She's not, this is bad freaking news. Steven, of course, is like, oh, that's not a good sign, kind of look on his face. Like, oh, he's like, that's not good, because she's going to tell me my results. And she composes herself, takes a deep breath, puts her hand on his arm, and says, I need to tell you something. Or I have something to tell you. And it's like, damn, yeah, very dramatic, very good. They did the other way around. I'm just going to tell you the final version of it. It's a little more comical. Audrey's sleeping. She's laying on 3 chairs. He's going to come in, wake her up, and then he's going to like, I got to tell you something. So he comes in, yells, hey, to wake her up. She's like, well, what the hell? And then he goes, I got to tell you something. Because he's actually doing something that she's not going to like, and now he needs her approval. It's like getting a lease on a house or a car or something. It's like, getting a lease on a car, and she does not want to support that, but he's going to try to convince her to it. That was it. Another version was with Wyatt and Mark. Mark sits on the ground. There's a chair in the middle of the stage. Wyatt's going to come in and sit on that chair and say, hey, I got something to tell you. He's going to come in from upstage. So it's just depth and heights and everything. I'm like, hey, it'd be really cool if he turns a chair around so he sits at it differently and just says the thing to him. He's like, and he did it. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I got the same idea this guy had. So he comes in, sits down. He's like, hey, I got something to tell you. And the idea here is that they're planning a heist. So they're trying to get this heist together. And that's what that one was. It was very interesting. Something very interesting she told us as well is, if it talks, people will listen. If it moves, people will pay attention. So what that means is when you have characters on a stage, the main character should be the one that's the most emotive. They should be moving around and talking. They should not just be standing there. They should be moving around and talking. Unless, of course, it's just one-on-one conversation. But even then, you can still move around like, well, I'm making coffee while they're talking, or they're doing this. They're putting things away. Just having more expression to their character while doing a thing. And that was very interesting. And because, like, the idea is, well, if they're just talking, you'll listen. Like a professor, you'll just listen, and maybe you'll lose attention. But if they're moving around while talking, you have a better chance of paying attention, because you're being engaged by more than just listening. They're being engaged in sight as well. So that's interesting to me. Like, okay, that's cool. And that makes me think of if we ever did, like, not if we ever, but for machinimas, like what we're trying to draw attention to and things like that. That's very interesting. Like, that's what I bring it to the channel is, if we're doing machinimas, what should be drawing attention? What shouldn't be drawing attention? Best impact of this and that, things like that. So that was all very interesting. Then we had to group up into fives and act out Romeo and Juliet. Well, before that, she had three people read Romeo and Juliet. The first act for a scene, which is Gregory, Samson, and Abraham. It's the two Capulets pissing up the two Montagues, and then they get into a fight. And there's Balthazar, which is the silent character. And so we had people read it. And I'm going to mention this for later. Mark was Samson. And Mark is a very boring kind of guy. And he was doing Samson. Samson is the most interesting on paper character of the entire thing. And of the entire act. Act scene. The entire scene. Samson's probably the most interesting character. Because he's the most emotive. He's saying the most different kind of words and everything. And we got Mark saying him, and Mark's unfortunately kind of very bland. And so once she had us group up into fives, Mark was in my group. And he wanted to be Samson again. And I'm like, well, crap, because that is a boring guy playing an interesting character. That is Chalk White wanting to play a rainbow. That's what that is. So, a little unfair. That's Chalk White trying to be purple. That's what that is. So, I'm like, okay, I do not want to play a character. I want to play the director because I can maybe convince Mark to be a little better of a character. And also see, and just because of my time in this channel, almost 4 years, I've learned to be more collaborative in my life. So I'm like, okay, I can take direction. I can do direction, take direction. I mean, I can do directing, take control of everything, hear everyone's ideas, and see what works, see what sticks in the big picture. I'm like, I have that experience. I'm going to use that here. I'm not going to be an actor on this one. I'm going to take control. That's what I was thinking, because I really don't want to try to bounce off this guy as an actor. Selfish reasons. Just throwing shade, but selfish reasons. But that's what I did. It's Mark as Samson, Spencer as Gregory, Jose as Abraham, and Gabby as Balthazar. But Gabby's a very shy person. She wanted to be the director, so she didn't have to act. I'm like, Balthazar doesn't have any lines. You just have to stand there and try to play off your buddy Jose, because that's her friend. So I'll be the director. I'm saying this kind of to just be like, look, I'll be the director. You be this. It'll work out because you're going to be with your buddy. This is your friend Jose. It'll work out. There you go. Acting as if I'm helping her out, but actually I'm helping myself out because I'm selfish. So, why did I say it like that? So, that's what happened. So I'm directing because I'm like, okay, I can take everyone's ideas, see what works, see what doesn't work, and be diplomatic about it because I've learned to be that way because of the channel. And it works. I think it works. So everyone's got these ideas. We take some ideas, we use them, so we don't use some other ones, and things are working out pretty well, very collaborative. And the one thing I didn't want, but that they did, is we're on stairs. Capulets are going to be on the top of the stairs. Like, it's a staircase where it's like stairs, flat spot, turn, stairs, flat spot, turn. So it's like that. So the Capulets are up here. Gregory and Samson. Gregory and Samson are like, hey, there's Montagues heading this way. Let's be total dicks to them. And make them want to attack us. That way, if they attack us and we get into a fight and we wreck their ass, and we wreck them, we don't get in trouble because they started the fight. That's the plan in scene 1. In Act 1, Scene 1 of Romeo and Juliet. That's the plan. It's the first scene. And so Samson's like, I'm going to bite my thumb at him. I'm going to bite my thumb at him, just basically flipping them off. That's what it is back then. I was flipping them off. I'm going to bite my thumb at them. piss them off. It'll be great. And so that's what happens. Gregory and Samson are going to be walking down the stairs. They're talking. And at the same time, Abraham and Balthazar are going to walk up the stairs. And so this is happening, and then they meet. And so now Samson is biting his thumb at Abraham and Balthazar. Abraham's like, are you biting your thumb at us? And Sam's like, I'm biting my thumb. But Abraham's like, but he's biting at us. And then they argue a little bit, and they argue about who's got the better boss, Capulet or Montague. And then it's like, Gregory's like, hey, one of the kinsmen of my master's coming. So yeah, our guy's definitely better because this guy's coming. You're on our turf. Don't be such a whatever. And then Samson yells out, draw if you be men, Gregory, remember thy swashing blow. Because it was like, okay, we've started the fight. Let's get into the fight now. And yeah, like, if I was doing this, I'd be Abraham. Because I've played plenty of wacky characters like Samson before. I'd want to do Abraham where I'm like, what the hell, man? I was just walking. Now you guys are just being dicks to me. Now I gotta defend my honor now. What the hell? Gregory's okay. Samson's, I've been Samson plenty of times in life, in my playing characters. Samson's the most interesting one, though. But I'd go for Abraham. But it's just, so I'm like, okay, so like, here's where the audience is going to be. I'm looking at where everyone's on the stairs, how well it would be seen when the audience looks at this and all these things. Keep it all in my head. Like, this is very fun. Being a director is pretty fun. And taking people's ideas and working them in and things like that. And I think it'll work out pretty well. We have to do it on Thursday. And I'm just giving you guys my mindset a little bit on how I was rolling in that class. But it was very interesting, and it also helped me just think about how I do things and want to do things. So this class has been very helpful. And we'll see how the channel is affected by that. I think the channel has been affected pretty positively so far. But that's it for day 11. There's a dog barking really loud outside. That's it for day 11. I wonder how 12 will be after we actually play it out. And yeah, it's very interesting how ideas come up. Because I'm like, okay, let's do a dry run. I'm like, and people had ideas. Okay, those are good. Let's incorporate those. Did another dry run. People had ideas. Okay, let's see what we can do with those. And then I kept having us do takes and seeing what ideas people had. And it enriched it. It's collaborative. A bunch of people with different ideas. See what ideas work, which ones don't. And as the director, I'm like, okay, these work, these don't work. Or I can diplomatically say whatever I need to say to make whatever I think works work. And it worked out pretty well. I like it. Directing's fun. That's it for day 11. See you on day 12. Hey everybody, day 12, just really quick. I probably told you that in the vlog. This is going to be a real quick one. All I learned, okay, so I directed and then we did the plays and everything. People had different versions of that scene. I liked it. It was very interesting. It was real great and everything. It was pretty fun. Nothing really major out of just the class stuff, actually. It was just doing the acts and everything. It was pretty fun to see different people's performances. Seeing 3 versions of Samson. One chick went all out with Samson. She got like a branch and she was just waving it around like it was her dick. Because Samson's a very, very, funny character. So it was pretty cool to see that and everything. Just different versions of everything. We saw a very comical version, a very serious version, and then mine was more of a mix of comedy and serious, which is exactly what I was hoping for, and it worked. Like, it was tense at points, but it was also hilarious, and I'm so happy that worked out. And then we learned about staging and things like that, and like about Cirque du Soleil and how they do staging and everything. It was pretty interesting, but nothing really huge to talk about, I don't think. Now, here's the thing that was huge. At the end of class, I asked for voice acting tips. Got some. And she was telling me ways to strengthen my diaphragm. She's telling me this thing where you go, if any of you know, you go, shh, and then you go, shh, something like that. Well, I have to look up exactly what the hell she meant. But it was this idea where you do these different sounds and stuff, and it's supposed to strengthen your diaphragm, which I am hyped about. The other one was, she explained to me how to breathe without making noise. And it's this exercise where you're supposed to let out all your air, and then you just open up without doing the sucking part. Because normally, if you let all your air, you go, but there's a way to get it all out and open up, and you let the air come to you instead of sucking it in. I'm like, holy crap. So she's like, if you can make that second nature, it makes audio editing a lot better. I'm like, fuck, how did I never think of that? How did I never think of that? Like, oh my God. And she was saying, like, you do like, what you want to do to train it is this also for diaphragm, is you do like a long note, for like 10 count. And then you breathe without making noise. And then you do that for a while, and it strengthens your diaphragm. And then you do it to an 11 count, and then a 12 count, and then longer and longer. She says, when you first practice it, do it while you're laying down, because you might pass out if you don't do it right. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so hype. I'm just so hype on this. And we're just like, oh my god, like, she's just saying ways to strengthen your diaphragm, because you need your diaphragm for, of course, breathing and everything when you're doing these voices. I'm like, fudge, man. How have I not thought of these things? Like, because I've looked at tips for voice acting and stuff like that, but nothing about breathing, nothing about the area, like, where you're supposed to be breathing. You're not supposed to be breathing from the chest. You're supposed to be breathing from the diaphragm. You're supposed to be breathing from down here, and it's just like, that's awesome. And it's what comes from actually talking to someone who knows what the hell they're doing, instead of just looking at just random tips that people who are better at voice acting just throw out there sometimes. That's great. I'm hype. I'm really freaking hype. So, yeah, I can't wait to just get better at voice work by just working at it. Like, I'm just doing it more and more and more. Like, we're doing FF. We're gonna do other LPs where I have to do all the voicing to practice. And I'm just hype about the breathing alone. I want to practice that. I want to practice that. I'm gonna practice that. It's just about second naturing the breathing. It might seem obvious, but for some reason, it's mind-blowing in a way. And I sound insane, don't I? So, that's it for day 2. For day 12? Day 12 theater? I'm hype. I'm so hype right now. I love being hyped by this class. I think we're going to be a better channel because of it. I'm so thankful for this class. So, that's it. So, thanks for coming by, everybody. I appreciate all of y'all. You know it. You know I do. You know I do, baby. I appreciate you, baby. You know I do. you know I do. You know I do. I love you guys and gals. I like that you guys watch us and everything going on. It's important to me that you know that I am thankful. It's important to me that you know that. So thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you're supporting us, thank you for supporting us. If you're not supporting us, well, I hope you're being entertained at least. Like, it's not wanting to, I gotta explain this real quick. Like, if you can help us out, it's always great. But if you're just at least being entertained, then it makes me happy. But I don't want to sound like I'm guilt tripping at the same time, which I hope I'm not. It's just that I want to make sure that if you're helping out, that you're thanked for that. And if you're not helping out, you don't feel bad about that. I'm okay if you don't. I just wish you did, because that's a personal thing. But as long as you're getting entertained, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm scatterbrained. I think about all the different directions and everything, and so I say them all. And I never mean to offend if I ever do. That's for sure. But thank you, everybody, for whatever things and everything. Just maybe we should just be more general. I don't know. Thank you. You know why I'm thankful, for whatever reason, this way or another. You know why I'm thankful to y'all. Why I'm thankful to Jinx. Thank you for all of her hard work and everything. And yeah, so I gotta work on this breathing thing, because I'm hype. Thanks for coming by, everybody. See you next time.